All right, it looks like you've had some great trainings. Yeah, good lunch. All right. Well, I'm going to try not to put you to sleep. I want to update you a little bit about what's going on in the organization, and I apologize for some of those of you who might have heard some of this recently before, but I think it's important for everybody to understand where we are and where we're going as an organization, so that if somebody asks you in the community what's happening, you kind of have an idea of what is going on within the organization, because we've got a lot of great things happening, a lot of change. I believe change is opportunity to get better. We're great now, we're going to get even better as an organization. So I want to update you a little bit about what is happening. On Tuesday, we did what was called a results-oriented management and accountability training, ROMA training. And that's just a big word for really putting systems in place that will help us become better as an organization. You guys already have a great program. You know that, right? Yeah. Well, as an organization, we need to put some of the systems that you've already got in place in Children's Services and Head Start, so that we can, like you've been doing for a number of years, better track our outcomes, so that we can share those outcomes with the people that we serve, with the community, and with legislators, so that we can advocate for more money and more resources to do more of what we do best. So the ROMA training was very successful, and we're going to be looking at implementing it across the agency. So that's one thing that's happening. It's really exciting. We're also embarking on a community needs assessment. Now, I know that Head Start is mandated to do an assessment every year. And as an agency, we're actually mandated to do one every 3 years. This year, we're doing something a little different. We're going to do a comprehensive needs assessment that's going to look at feedback from our clients, from the community, from our funders, from our stakeholders, from you, our staff, from our board of directors. We want to hear from everybody about what you feel the needs are in the community, so that we can better address what those needs are, so that we can get the resources that we need to change more lives. So we're putting together a steering committee. We're going to be meeting in about 10 days. Dr. Jill Sharkey from UCSB, some of you might be familiar with her, is going to be on our steering committee. And a couple of other people, somebody from Cottage Health. We've got someone who used to be with the Santa Barbara Foundation. So we've got a lot of different people who are going to be serving on that committee. And we're going to be doing a needs assessment that focuses on the needs in the South County, in the Mid-County, and in the North County, so that we can better develop strategies to address the needs in each of those different regions. Does that make sense? Yeah. So that's going on. As soon as the needs assessment is done, probably next March, we're going to move into a strategic planning phase. And that's where it really gets to be fun, because then we start to look at what the needs are and dream about what we can do. What do we need to do to address these needs in the community? Again, we're going to involve the community in that process. We're going to involve you, the staff, the leadership team, and it will be a 3 to 5 year plan that really lays out the path on what direction we need to move in the future. So it's going to be really, really important to guiding everything that we do as we move forward as an organization. I'm really excited to talk about a new program that we're going to start. It's going to be a small program. It's called the Family Self-Sufficiency Program. And it's going to essentially help families who are really interested in and motivated to move out of poverty and become self-sufficient. And what it's going to do is, in a very unique way, work with families, work with parents, work with individuals who want to go back to school or need job training, who need housing, affordable housing, who need childcare, who need transportation. And we're going to try and address each of those different needs so that we can remove the barriers that keep people in poverty. And it's a very complex issue, very difficult to address, but I've seen it work in Florida in the agency that I came from, and we can change lives that way. We literally in Florida had a woman whose husband was diagnosed with cancer. She had 3 children. She was suddenly in a situation where she had to support the family. And so she wanted to go back to school. She'd finished high school, and she'd done a little bit of college, and she wanted to go back to school to be a nurse. So what this family self-sufficiency program was able to do was help her, assist her in getting the Pell Grant and student loans that she was qualified for. And when that didn't help her meet all of her needs, we assisted her with tuition, helped her pay for books. Later, as she went through the program, helped her buy the stethoscope and her scrubs. Whatever it was she needed, if she needed a tire on her car so that she could get to class, that's what we helped her with. So whatever unique barrier a family is encountering, we can address that in a very flexible way so that we can keep them moving forward. So that's a program that we're currently designing. It's going to be funded through our Community Services Block Grant, CSBG. And it's going to start with just one case manager, senior case manager. And we're very confident it's going to grow, and it's going to help a lot of people move out of poverty. So really excited about that. And then I just want to update you on our rebranding effort. As you know, we've had that logo for many, many, many years. What we've discovered in the last year is that a lot of service providers know us, a lot of clients in the community know us, but the greater community doesn't always recognize us. They might know Head Start program, or they might know our energy services program, but they don't know us as an organization. And so right now we're taking a look at that. We're looking at possibly renaming the organization, and we're possibly going to be looking at a new logo. So stay tuned. We've got someone working with us on that. They're going to be presenting some ideas to our board of directors in September, and the board will be making some decisions about what direction they'd like to see us move. Probably so. I think that that'll depend on what the board wants to do. Of course, you know, they are the last word. But it is possible, and I can recommend to them that we present all of the concepts to the staff and get your feedback. Would you like that? Okay. Well, I will work on that. I can't guarantee what they're going to say, but I certainly can recommend that, and that we need to bring that to the staff and get your feedback. Great suggestion. Okay. Any questions about where we're heading? Okay, good. Well, I wanted to update you on that, but the reason why I came today was, number one, I wanted to welcome you back. I know some of you have been off for the summer and you're coming back, so welcome back. It's really exciting that you know, we've got a new group of kids, many new kids that are going to be coming in, and children and families that we can change lives around. So welcome back. We need you. But I also wanted to take this opportunity to tell you a little story. And I'm not a great storyteller. I'm an even worse joke teller, so I won't tell you any jokes. But I think the message is important, so I wanted to share it with you. I want to tell you about a little girl named Jill. Knew her way back when, 6, 7 years old. She had a twin brother named Jack. Don't laugh, Jack and Jill. And, they were from a great family, living a great life, happy family. Started school, grade 1. They went into school. Of course, they got split up into different classrooms. And Jill they both had great teachers. Jill went to her class. She began to excel in school, all of her subjects. She was just an ace. Jack, on the other hand, was left-handed. And for whatever reason, his teacher wanted him to write with his right hand. Well, you can imagine, that was something that was pretty common, actually, years ago, that they wanted you to just write with the right hand if you were a lefty. He struggled with that. And can you guess what happened with him in the first grade? He what? He went kind of downhill. He started feeling like, wow, I'm really having a hard time. It's taken me a long time because I can't write with my right hand. I can't get my work done in time like the other kids. I'm not feeling so good about this school stuff. So, he began struggling. Jill couldn't really understand that because it seemed pretty simple to her. She was, working hard and doing great. And towards the end of the year, something started to happen in their family. Their mother started drinking. And as you can imagine, they would come home from school. Things were a little different. And when their dad came home from work, what do you think happened? They started arguing. Well, time went on. They went into the second grade. Jill was promoted. Jack was promoted to the second grade. And he continued to struggle, starting to act out in class, starting to fail some of his subjects. Well, I tell you, Jill was just an ace. She was, right on it, doing great in all of her subjects. And they had a poetry contest at the school. And she wrote a poem called The Dog Next Door. And guess what? It won. It won the contest for the entire school. So she was really proud. That made Jack feel even worse, right? And at the same time, their mother was kind of deteriorating. She was drinking very heavily during that time period. So Jill started kind of disengaging from her home life. And rather than go straight home after school, she wanted to hang out with the teachers. She felt good about being at school. So she'd stay after school, and she'd help her teacher clean up the classroom, make sure all the chairs and the desks were all lined up perfectly, straighten up the art supplies, sweep, clean out the erasers, those old erasers. And she would hang around after school until the teacher was going to leave because she really didn't want to go home. And one day, it was a June day, really hot outside, didn't have air conditioning, windows were open in the classroom. Jill's working away, cleaning things up, and she stops and she turns and looks at her second grade teacher. And she said, one day I'm going to grow up and I'm going to be a writer. And her teacher stopped. She'd been up at the front of the class, grading papers at her desk. She put her pen down and she folded her hands and she looked at Jill and she said, you know what? You can be a writer. You can be whatever you want to be. You can. And Jill stopped and looked at her and smiled because she'd never really heard anyone tell her that she could do anything that she wanted to do. And she didn't forget that. Time goes on. She and Jack get promoted to the third grade. Jack is still struggling. Jill's feeling more and more guilty because she can't help him. They're twins, they're so close. She doesn't understand why he can't do the work that she does. They were so much alike. And she's still, day after day, staying after school, helping the teachers out. And she'd expanded her work. She'd gone from one classroom and helping the teacher to the teachers all the way down the hallway. She'd check with each of them to make sure that, if they needed the erasers cleaned or the trash taken out, she'd do that for them. And the teachers loved her. She loved school. The teachers said she did everything right. She was quiet. She followed instructions. Right? She tried her best every day. And they just loved that. Jack was still struggling. He really was having a very, very difficult time. But for Jill, that was her safe place, right? That was where she felt at home. That was where she got validated as a person. Because she knew when she went home, and she opened that front door, and the house was dark. The curtains were closed. There was a smell of liquor, the smell of stale cigarettes. That didn't feel like home. And she dreaded the moment that she would hear her father's car pull into the driveway, because she knew if she and her siblings had not cleaned up the house, had not done the laundry, had not vacuumed, dusted, and didn't have dinner on the table, that their dad was going to be really upset, because mom is drunk in bed, and he is going to have to come home and clean up and feed the kids and get them ready for bed. And that would end up in an argument, and then as time went on, it would end up in violence. And Jill would go to bed at night hearing the screaming, the hitting, and not be able to go to sleep. Some nights didn't sleep. And she would think about what that second grade teacher had said to her. She would remember, and she would dream about the day that she would grow up and have her own house, her own family, and find some peace. So Jill grew up. She didn't become a professional writer, but she did grow up to be someone like her teacher, who day in, day out was helping people, changing lives. And I know that because that little girl was me. And so what I want to say to you today is that every day you have the potential, the opportunity, the privilege to change a child's life. So when you're struggling, when they're acting out, if they're quiet and they're not opening up, listen with your heart. Because they're telling you a story, whether they're acting out or they're sitting there like a perfect angel. They're telling you their story. We have to be open to hear it. Take that opportunity when that one child is pushing you over the edge to listen and choose your words wisely, because they may be the words that that child remembers for the rest of their lives. And you choose whether or not they're going to be words that they hold on to and grow with, or shut down and wither away. So as you go out and you start the new year, remember that. You can change a child's life. You, and they will remember you for it the rest of your life. Thank you.
Wow. We learned something about our CEO, didn't we? That was sweet. So I'm here to introduce our keynote speaker. He's been a hard-working man today. His fourth presentation of the day, Teacher Tom.